What's up, people? So I'm gonna leave this up here because this is what I just call like the governmental circle of life. A lot of people might call it socialism. People giving the government, not the government. Okay, first let's get to base concepts here. The government is democratic. People vote people into office. Boom. People they know and trust believe are gonna make good decisions that benefit them. Boom. Okay. Then the government might pass certain things. Say, okay, we want to build a road, so we gotta get enough money for that. So we're gonna tax people. We're gonna create a bill that says, there's going to be a sales tax or something, and people are taxed. Money goes into a fund to pay for whatever the government says they're going to do that should benefit these people. A lot of people might call it socialism, saying, oh, yeah, the government making money and handing people stuff. Look, they're taking your money, it's a collective fund, and that money is being spent on things that should benefit you. That's what governments have been doing for a very long time. So not even gonna go into that one even any further, but just want to preface that. I'm gonna leave this up here just to remind you that this is like it's almost like a corporation of people that put money in, and the government's like this thing that creates products. And those products are not for profit. They're not sold for profit. They're rather just things that go straight toward benefiting the citizenry. You see what I'm saying? Um, Other corporations, they might be like stockholders that buy stock, give the company money, and there's a board of directors that are elected. These board of directors decide what to do to make a profit, and then a profit will get kicked back in one way or another. Stock price might go up, or there could be dividends paid, and that's how a normal corporation works. But this one's more like your money goes in, the products are not sold, but directly given to you for, your public benefits, roads, schools, hospitals, police, firemen, maybe water, maybe food in some cases, welfare stuff, whatever, stuff like that. Okay, that's like the governmental corporation. We're just gonna leave it there. Okay. What I want to talk about is what happens beyond that. So a lot of people might call that a socialistic thing. That's existed forever. So don't get it twisted. Okay. It's existing right now. There's money going in, products going out. A lot of stuff's actually being spent on stupid stuff, which is what I was talking about, corruption. But generally speaking, yeah, money's going in, being spent on stuff that benefits citizenry. You call it socialism, but I'm not sure. It could be socialism, but I mean, if it is, then it's been going on for a very long time already, so it's whatever. And right now, it's going on, and a lot of people just generally say, yeah, we live in a capitalistic world, because we do have basic capitalistic stuff going on. Big old corporations, there's business going on everywhere, there's business going on overseas, all types of stuff. So that's kind of what I want to talk about, that layer of capitalism that's kind of built on top of this so-called socialistic governmental corporation business model, whatever you want to call it. So we're just gonna, I guess, go over here and talk about it. This how should we start? What I really want to talk about is money. Money is this thing that I don't think a lot of people understand, but it's very fundamental. There's a reason that giant corporations own everything. A lot of people don't understand this. It's that banks, and we're just gonna draw like a weird rectangle here. Banks, they do something called fractional reserve banking, and they literally create money. They just straight up on the spot create money. It's actually, when you look into it, it's basically fraud. It's basically, they say they have a certain amount of money in reserve, so they literally just create money on computers or whatever, and they're creating money on the spot. That's like counterfeiting, basically. That's exactly what they do. That's fractional reserve banking, and that money will go out, and people with good credit can borrow that money, and it could be a business or something, and that's I don't know, Trump. Trump Tower. No, it's just like a corporation, and businesses can go to these people, these banks, and they can have. I don't even want to write Trump. I'm not trying to blast Trump. That's singling somebody out. Just I'm gonna write corp. Corp. All right, so they can go to these banks, and if they have good enough credit or good enough collateral to put up for a loan. I mean, usually they got the whole business to put up, so they can just say, okay, they can go to a bank and the bank will literally create like a huge loan to hand them for whatever they want, basically, because they supposedly have good credit. And then this corporation can take a lot of that money and go buy up all types of stuff. It could buy up smaller companies, vertical integration, other companies that are, doing the same, the competition, horizontal integration, and they become these corporate giants. And that's how these corporate giants came to be, because they have access to money that the banks are creating right there on the spot, just like boom, money at your disposal. And then, I mean, they're supposed to make good decisions because they have to pay that money back eventually, but and they do usually. They'll buy a company that makes a lot of money, and like you could buy a piece of real estate, go get a loan from a bank, get a mortgage on a house, and then rent that house out to somebody, and that person can literally pay enough to you each month to pay your mortgage. So it's a money making asset. You're getting a loan from a bank, buying a money making asset, and hopefully the income from that asset pays for itself. It'll pay for that loan. And that's actually what's been happening. The point is, giant corporations have huge lines of credit, more than most normal people, so they can go get huge amounts of huge loans, and they can go buy a lot of stuff, a lot of money making assets that will pretty much pay for themselves. But at the end of the day, they're going to own all of them, and that's wealth consolidation. And that's how you have these giant freaking corporations, like crazy. Another thing corporations can do is they can go public on a stock market, sell stock at a certain price, and sometimes the stock price goes up, and they get a lot of funding, and they can buy up a lot of stuff like that. But this right here is really what I want to talk about, because that is not a natural thing. Banks creating money on the spot in almost a counterfeit way through fractional reserve banking, that is not a natural thing. That has never been a natural thing. And it gives corporations access to money that otherwise wouldn't exist, and it allows them to buy, entire sectors of the market, to buy up money-making assets that will pay for themselves. And then at the end of the day, they're just paying for themselves, and they did no work whatsoever. There's people, they might buy a business. All the people who work for that business are doing the actual labor. These people just got a loan, and now they own that whole business. The business is basically managed by other people. You know what I mean? People are actually doing the work and making it a functional money-making business, But these people, because they can go get access to this money, could go ahead and just get a giant loan and buy that whole business. And they just sit back, and the company, the business pays for itself. And at the end of the day, they'll own that business just because they had good credit and had access to that money, because the banks are creating money on the spot in a counterfeit way, which is unnatural. That money should not exist. That money should never exist. Fractional reserve banking is basically fraud. It's basically money counterfeiting. And if it didn't exist, these giant corporations wouldn't have access to that money, and they couldn't do that. They couldn't go buy money-making assets like they are right now. They couldn't. A lot of people couldn't. And because they can, that's why you have wealth consolidation. That's what you need to understand about this whole thing. So a lot of people, they say first, this is socialism, and then they say, oh, these people that have everything they have, oh yeah, they work for it, man. No, they fucking didn't. These motherfuckers who just go to a bank, buy up an already existing, fully functioning company that's gonna pay for itself, did not do shit. They went to a bank and got a fraudulently created loan and bought that company that somebody else built. That's what really happened. And that company's gonna pay for itself. That money-making asset is gonna pay for itself. I mean, it's a very common thing with landlords. That's exactly what they do. They go get a loan from a bank, buy a piece of land, and then the tenants pay monthly more than what their monthly rate on the mortgage is, and that piece of property pays for itself. That's a common thing with landlords. It's the same thing just with entire businesses, whatever. These corporations they have way more credit, way more access to money, and they can buy way more stuff. And that's how wealth is consolidated. These people with these giant companies did not work hard for that. I mean, they might have worked to some degree, you know, to even become a somebody with a decent amount of credit, whatever. They probably had to do whatever. But this is definitely a big old factor in it. You know what I mean? So without that, yeah, there would not be a lot of uh, kind of monopolies being formed, wealth consolidation, vertical and horizontal integration. There wouldn't be a lot of that. There would be more natural and dispersed competition in the economy. But instead, these people say, "Oh, look, we got all this money," and they can, like I said, they can sell stock, and the stock price can go up. There's a bunch of ways they can make a lot of money. But once they got it, sure, they can buy. Uh, I mean, really, if they got, if they're making a lot of money, their credit score goes up. If they have a high net worth as a company, they have more credit. If they're selling stock at a high price, they are holding on to a lot of that stock. They're selling for a high price. That's collateral. It'll get you a bigger loan from the banks. The banks will trust you more because you have more collateral to put up for a loan. And so the bigger they are already, the more money they can get, the more money they can use to consolidate more wealth. It's like this like gravitational thing. Like the more mass you have, the more you're gonna attract. It's like, and it's already been consolidated. It's already been monopolized in a lot of ways. And a lot of people are like, oh yeah, they work for that. Don't be mad at these people who work really hard for that. Bro, they might have worked initially, but then they said, hey, look, let's do that. Let's that's what landlords do all day. Landlords do that all day. The people on these apartments that I live in, guarantee you that's what they did. They got a loan from the bank, bought these apartments, which are already a money-making asset, and now I'm working my ass off, going to literally do physical labor to pay a monthly rent fee, and I'm just paying for their mortgage to actually own this place. They probably already own it. They probably already paid it off. It's already probably paid for itself. They just sat on their ass, got a loan, bought the place, sat on their ass. It was already a money-making asset, sat on their ass, and now they own it. I'm the one doing the work. People managing these apartments are the one doing the work. The maintenance men, people doing the work. People who take care of this whole place doing the work. The people who went and got a loan and now own this place, they did nothing. They got a loan, bought this place. It paid for itself. That's a well-known, they call it wealth building. I call it wealth consolidation. I call it creating monopolies. It depends. When you're talking about these big old giant corporations doing it, yeah, then you're like creating monopolies. They call it wealth building. Like landlords say, that's how you build wealth. That's how you are a lazy bum taking advantage of a corrupt system. It's a corrupt system. Fractional reserve banking is basically counterfeiting money. Then nobody on earth should be able to just create money on the spot. That's just that's the exploit right there. The fact that this money is banks are able to create this money and it's available to people. It's the only thing that allows that whole function. If it didn't, and people wanted a loan, they'd have to go to like people that already had it, and it's a lot less available. So there'd be a lot less, money that's just coming out of thin air created by banks that can be spent to buy, giant sectors of the market. You know what I'm saying? And so yeah, that's a pretty fundamental exploit. It's kind of what I want to point out. A lot of people call this socialism. It's not socialism, first of all. And second, they want to defend this crap. I'm like, bro, this is freaking, that's an exploit like a mofo. Fractional reserve banking is really what allows it. That's what you need to understand. It's the banking system that allows it. These people are really just, say, hey, look, I can take advantage of that. I've been thinking about it. I've been looking into it. That's how I know a lot of stuff. I've been looking into buying real estate, becoming a landlord, just because I know that's how it works. I pay attention. I learn. I read books from rich billionaires. I'm like, hey, that's how you do it. Okay. They call it wealth building. It's a freaking exploit. That's what it really is. I'm telling you. Like, go read it from anybody. Go read any real estate book. That's like the fundamental exploit. Get a mortgage, buy property, rent it out, get the tenants to pay for your mortgage. And then you own the property just by sitting on your butt doing nothing. All you gotta do is maybe, if it's already like the apartment complex, it's already a functioning thing. It already has management, it already has maintenance men. All that stuff is gonna be covered by what the tenants pay. It's a money making asset. It's already a functioning profitable business, and they just go get a loan from the banks, create it out of nowhere, and buy it. It pays for itself. That's a fundamental. I wish more people understood that, but apparently they don't. A lot of people don't read. A lot of people don't think about this type of stuff. But that's why I'm trying to talk about it. A lot of people call this socialism, but they'll defend that. Talking about, oh yeah, they work for what they got. No, they don't, dude. No, they don't. They don't work for what they got. They go here, get a big old loan, and then they freaking sit on their butts while these companies that they buy are full of people working their asses off just to fucking make money to fucking pay these motherfuckers that are just sitting on their asses so they can pay back the fucking loan that they got from the bank that created fraudulently. It's a fundamental exploit, dude. Fundamental. Anyway, I'm gonna leave it at that. We'll go into more details about other shit later, but right now, that's it. I'm gonna leave it at that. I'm out. Stay safe. Stay woke.